you prepare your peripheral blood smear for evaluation of RBC morphology, evaluation of WBC, okay? And also yung estimation, no? Differential counting ng WBC count. So the same po yung gagawin nating process in preparation of the peripheral blood smear. Now, for the estimation of platelet in peripheral blood smear, ang normal value po natin dyan, so we can say that the value, no, of the platelet count of a patient is still under the normal value. That should be 3 to 10 platelets per 100 RBC. So ibig pong sabihin nun, sa bawat 100 na RBC na nakikita ninyo, dapat meron kayong mabibilang na at least 3 to 10 platelets. Okay? So for that field, depende, no? Pwedeng makakita ka ng mga 10 fields. Okay? Basta mabilang mo 100 RBC, sa bawat 100 RBC, dapat meron kang makikitang at least 8 to 10 platelets. E paano kung mas mababa, ma'am? Okay? Bigyan ko pa kayo ng another estimation. So for example, in every 10 to 40 na RBC, dapat may makita kang isang platelet. Okay? So 1 platelet in every 10 to 40 RBCs. Okay? And then 5 to 20 platelets in every 200 RBCs. So yan po yung estimation natin. So kapag ka nag-fall dyan yung count ng platelets natin, you can say that the patient has normal reference rate or is still in the normal value, no? And then, of course, para mas maging accurate yung bilang, you can do absolute counting. That is by using counting chambers. Okay, so same po yung counting chamber na ginagamit natin for RBC and WBC. So ganun din po yung gagamitin natin for platelet counting. So for the specimen of choice, that would be venous whole blood pa rin in EDTA. Or you can use capillary whole blood. Okay, but then again, if you will compare, capillary whole blood will yield lower count. Bakit kamo? Bakit mas mababa yung count kapag ka capillary whole blood? Kasi po, di ba magpa-puncture ka sa finger? That would create platelet adhesion to the wound or to the punctured wound. So pagka nag-puncture ka, no, sa finger, okay, of course, mag-activate yung primary hemostasis. So anong mangyayari sa platelet function? If you remember, adhesion, secretion, and aggregation. So mababawasan yung makakount natin na platelet kapag ka nangyari ang platelet adhesion because of the wound inflicted to the finger. Kaya again, I repeat, kapag capillary whole blood, mas mababa yung count na makukuha natin. In comparison, if your blood collected is a venous whole blood in EDTA. Clear? So there are certain methods for absolute platelet counting. So we have the Prechter and the Cronkite method. So your whole blood EDTA, okay, will be diluted into 1:100 with 1% ammonium oxalate. So para saan yung ammonium oxalate na yan? Para malyse yung mga non-nucleated RBC, yung mga mature RBC. Para ang matitira po natin yung platelet. Understood? So you will be using the chamber, the improved Neubauer counting chamber. So you will be utilizing the 25 small square doon sa large center square. Naalala niyo po ba yung appearance ng counting chamber natin? So if you remember, ito yung ginagamit natin for WBC, yung 4 na corners, right? And then yung ginagamit natin for RBC, etong nasa gitna. Same also, yan din ang ginagamit natin for the platelets. Pero if you remember, for RBC counting, yung 5 square lang, yung 4, di ba? Na corner at saka yung gitna. Pero sa platelet count, lahat po yung 25 small squares na yan sa gitna. Isasama natin for platelet counting. And then, for Brecher and Cronkite method, you will be utilizing phase contrast microscope. Bakit phase contrast? Kasi po wala po tayong ginamit na stain. So, mahihirapan po tayo na ma-visualize yung mga platelet. Kasi ang mga platelets, guys, wala namang kulay yan. Diba? Physiologically, unlike RBC, ang RBC, kahit pa paano, meron siyang hemoglobin. Kaya madali natin yung makita. Right? Even though wala kang ginamit na stain sa diluent mo for RBC counting. Ito kasi, yung diluent natin, walang stain na halo. So, kapag ginamit mo ang bright field, hindi mo mag-visualize yung platelets or presence ng platelets. So, it is better to use phase contrast microscope. Clear yun? Okay, next. Another method, no? This is the calculation, by the way, for the Brecher and Cronkite method. So, number of cells that you counted in the 25 small squares sa gitna, times yung dilution natin, which is 1:100. Okay, so 100 divided by yung area counted natin in millimeters squared times the depth. So yung depth naman natin is always constant, which is 0.1. So let's say, for example, ang na-count natin, so let's have an example. Let's say 200 cells are counted. So 200 times ang dilution natin is 100 divided by ang total area. Kasi yung buong 25 yung kukunin natin, di ba? Or gagamitin natin. So that will be equivalent to 1 millimeter square. Right? Times ang depth natin is 0.1. So ang magiging final answer natin dyan is 200,000 cells, okay, millimeter, okay, cube, or 200,000 cells per UL. Okay? Or 200 cells times 10 raised to 9 per liter. Clear? Next, another method would be the Tocatins. So, ganun pa rin yung gagamitin nating specimen, which is at the blood, diluted with a different diluent. Yung diluent na natin dito is Rees-Ecker with citrate formaldehyde buffer. Now this time, may gamit na po tayong stain. At dahil may stain ka na, kahit gumamit na po tayo ng light na microscope or yung bright field microscope. So the purpose, by the way, of the Rees-Ecker diluent is that it fixes and also preserves both RBC and platelet. Kaya naman, di ba kanina naalala ninyo sa Brecher Cronkite, gumamit tayo ng ammonium oxalate para malyse yung mga RBCs natin. Right? Dito naman, hindi niya ilalyse, but rather, ipapreserve niya parehas RBC and platelet. So, how do we differentiate now the RBC and the platelet? The platelet will be stained by the brilliant Crescent blue. So, because this is a platelet stain. Okay? So, bakit kailangang i-preserve? Pine-preserve natin para hindi mag-disintegrate yung platelet. Okay? Now, for the sources of error, so number 1, inadequate ang mixing or poor yung collection method. So, kapag hindi natin properly na-mix yung diluent with the blood, the tendency for the platelet is to clump. magkaklamp po yan sa hemocytometer. So if that happens, ang solution natin dyan is you adjust the dilution or it's better to recollect. Okay? Next, number 2, dirt in the pipette or hemocytometer or diluting fluid. So that will result to inaccurate count. So paano natin matatanggal yung mga dirt na yan? Kailangan po gumamit tayo ng 95% ethyl alcohol. 95% ethanol para malinis natin yung hemocytometer natin. Okay? So, another error, okay, or possible source of error would be if there is less than 50 platelets counted on each side, kailangan mag-adjust tayo ng dilution. So, ang magiging dilution na natin dyan is 1:20 rather than 1:100. So, kapag more than 500 naman yung platelet na na-count natin, okay, mag-a-adjust ulit po tayo ng dilution. This time, okay, tataasan naman natin. Okay, tataasan naman natin. Pwede mong gawing 1:200, okay, yung inyong dilution. So, next, for normal platelet count, pwede rin tayong gumamit ng 5 na small RBC square. Pero, you have to adjust your area. Di ba kanina sa computation natin, ang area mo, kasi ang gamit mo yung 25, kaya po 1 millimeter square. So, pag ang ginamit mo lang is yung 5 na small RBC squares, yung 4 na corner, at saka yung isang center, sa central large square, papalitan mo lang yung area mo. So, gagawin mo na siyang 0.2 millimeter square. Understood? 0.2 millimeter square. And then, there is a phenomenon we call as platelet satellidosis. So, ang nangyayari dito guys, yung platelet, if this is the neutrophil, so sabihin natin ito yung neutrophil, the platelets are adhering dito sa platelet, surrounding the platelet. Surrounding the neutrophil. So para siyang nagpo-produce ng ring or satellite effect. So para maiwasan po natin yan, instead of EDTA, we can replace your anticoagulant with a sodium citrate. Pero dapat yung result na makukuha natin sa platelet count, i-multiply natin ng 1.1. Pag ang ginamit natin ay sodium citrate. Clear yon? Ma'am, pwede rin po bang gumamit ng heparin kung walang sodium citrate? Yes. Pwede rin po, heparin may be used to replace your sodium citrate. Understood? Instead of EDTA. Again this will only happen kung nangyari ang platelet satellidosis. Understood? Okay. Now let's move on to the specimen collection of the laboratory evaluation ng primary hemostasis. Okay. So, one, ang required na specimen, non-hemolyzed sample. Okay? Bakit non-hemolyzed? Kasi guys, maaari po na ma-activate yung marirelease na mga chemicals from hemolyzed samples can activate your platelet. So, that could result to erroneous errors or erroneous results rather. So, ang primary concern kasi natin, ayaw natin ma-activate yung primary hemostasis. So, we want to have non-hemolyzed samples. Okay? So, ano po ba yung mga causes ng activation? So, number 1, the presence of the tissue thromboplastin. So, it is a potent activating substance sa fluids from injured cells and tissue spaces. So, that could shorten your extrinsic pathway. So, mag-shorten po yung ating clotting process. If that happens. Basta tandaan ninyo, ayaw natin ng premature activation. When that happens kasi, by the way, ang mini-measure natin dito is usually time. Time. So, kapag ka umikli, ibig sabihin, maagang na-activate yung clotting process natin. And that may be due to the presence of the tissue thromboplastin. Glass surfaces can activate your contact group. Naalala yung contact group sa secondary hemostasis, sila factor 12, sila high molecular weight kininogen. So if you're going to use tubes, no, na may glass surfaces, that could shorten both the intrinsic and as well as extrinsic pathway. Temperature could also affect. Okay? So ano ma'am yung recommended na material para sa mga tubes? So you can use plastic, polystyrene, or silicone-coated glass. Okay lang yung glass, pero dapat yung inner, no, is coated with silicone para hindi po magkaroon ng contact yung blood doon sa glass. Also, temperature can affect your specimen and could affect the result. So it can affect the labile factors. So these are your factor 5 and your factor 8. And then for the room temperature, no, ang room temperature, it deteriorates the clotting factors after extended period. So kailangan guys, pagka nag-collect na tayo ng specimen as soon as possible, kailangan na nating ma-process. Hindi dapat pwedeng iwanan yan sa room temperature for an extended period of time. For cold temperature naman, it can affect factor 7 and factor 11. Okay? Next, so sabi ko nga kanina yung hemolysis, we don't want hemolyzed sample. Why? Because the chemical that are released, no, from the RBC could act as thromboplastin. So balik tayo kay number 1. Ano po ba yung effect ng thromboplastin? Na shorten niya yung extrinsic pathway. So na-shorten niya yung time na ina-expect dapat natin na normal. Understood? So let's move on to the anticoagulant. So for primary hemostasis evaluation as well as secondary hemostasis evaluation, we use citrate. So that is from 0.105 to 0.109 m or the 3.2% sodium citrate. So this is the anticoagulant of choice, no? Because this preserves your labile factors and also satisfactory rin siya para sa mga platelet aggregation study. So, mas sensitive to sa effect ng heparin. So, ibig sabihin, preferred po ito para ma-monitor natin yung heparin therapy. Okay? Next. So, the specific ratio required would be 9:1. Understood? Ibig sabihin po, yung blood, okay, is 9 and then yung anticoagulant natin is 1. So, if hematocrit, what if hematocrit is more than 0.50 to 0.55 liter per liter or percent, especially in cases of polycythemia? O kaya naman, hindi natin na collect ng tama yung volume ng blood. Ibig sabihin, magsha-short draw ka. Ibig sabihin, incomplete na ma-fill yung tube mo. There will be unbound citrate. At pag nangyari yon, that would cause naman, kung kanina, pag premature na activate, masya-shorten yung time. Dito naman, mapoprolong. Okay? Yung iba nating test, like PT and PTT. By the way, PT and PTT are used to evaluate secondary hemostasis. So we will talk about this next week. So anong gagawin natin? Kapag more than 50 to more than 0.50 to 0.55% ang hematocrit, kailangan natin mag-adjust ng volume ng anticoagulant. So ito po yung formula natin. Okay? 1.85, that's constant, times 10 raised to -3 times 100 minus kung ilan yung hematocrit value times the volume. Okay, ano yung V? Volume ng whole blood sodium citrate solution. Understood? Okay. And then, yung hematocrit dapat naka-percent siya, ha? Okay. Now, for example, you are to collect 3 ml of blood from a patient who has a hematocrit of 65%. Okay, 65% ang hematocrit. So that is more than 0.50 to 0.55. Ang gagawin natin, magka-adjust tayo ng volume ng anticoagulant. So, ang formula natin dyan would be 1.85 times 10 raised to negative 3 times 100, okay, minus yung 65. Tapos ilan yung volume na kailangan mong i-collect daw? Sabi, 3 ml. So, times 3. So, once na minultiply niyo lahat yan, ang makukuha po natin value dyan is 0.19 ml. Okay? Of sodium citrate. So, ilan ngayon ang kukunin natin na blood? So, ang gagawin mo, kasi nga di ba ang volume mo ay 3 ml. Right? I-minus mo yung 0.19 ml doon sa 3 ml kasi this is the total volume which you are intended to collect. Correct? So, ito yung anticoagulant mo. Ano ngayon yung volume ng blood? So, para makuha mo yon 3 minus 0.19 ml, that would be 2.8 ml. Ito dapat yung adjusted na whole blood sample na kukunin mo. Naiintindihan po ba yun? Okay? So, kapag sa laboratory guys, naka-prepare na kasi, no? Commercially prepared na yung mga tubes natin, yung mga citrate tube natin. So, ang gagawin nyo para mabawasan, so open nyo lang, remove nyo yung stopper, then pipette or discard, no? I-discard nyo yung volume kasi guys, ang usual na volume ng sa 3 ml kung 9:1, okay, that would be 0.3. Tama ba? 0.3. So, kung halimbawa 9:1 ang ratio, di ba? So, kung 9:1, tapos 3 ml, so times 0.10, ang value nito ay, ng anticoagulant sa 3 ml ha, so that would be 0.3. Correct? So, ito yung laman na anticoagulant ng 3 ml na citrated tube. So, ilan lang ba ang kailangan natin? Kailangan lang natin ay 0.19. So, ilan ngayon ang tatanggalin mo? So, 0.30 minus 0.19 ml, ilan po ba yun? Calculate natin 0.30 minus 0.19. Okay? So, kailangan mong magtanggal ng 0.11. Ito yung kailangan nating i-discard. Ito yung maiiwan. Kuha po ba yon? Clear po ba yon? So, ganun po ang calculation, ha? Sa exam, meron po tayong mga calculation. So, dapat alam natin kung paano nakukuha yung mga values. Is there any question with regards to the calculation? Are you sure? Okay. And then, ilan yung i-collect natin na whole blood? So, 2.8 ml na lang. Malinaw ba yon? Okay. Next. EDTA. hindi siya satisfactory for coagulation testing. Why? Because it irreversibly chelate calcium. Ang citrate kasi, kaya siya anticoagulant of choice natin kasi it reversibly yung chelation ng calcium. Kasi, i-discuss naman natin to next week, na kailanganin natin yung calcium sa blood pag nangyari ang secondary hemostasis. Remember doon sa pathway, ilang beses natin ginamit ang ionized calcium. Okay? Gagamitin natin yan sa intrinsic, extrinsic, common pathway. Tama? So, ayaw natin na hindi available ang calcium. So, gusto natin maibabalik yung calcium in the process of the coagulation, and that could be done when you use the citrate. That is unlike your EDTA. EDTA irreversibly chelates calcium. Hindi niya na kayang ibalik yung calcium sa clotting process. Naintindihan? Another disadvantage of the EDTA is that it inhibits the fibrin-thrombin reaction. Hindi rin siya stable, okay, para sa factor V. So ginagamit natin ang EDTA for molecular diagnostic testing, especially for factor V latent mutation. Understood? Okay? So ganun din, other than EDTA, we use ACD, okay, or dipotassium EDTA for molecular diagnostic testing. Heparin, this acts with antithrombin, right? So, ibig sabihin, may inhibit lahat ng stages ng coagulation. Pero, kung pag-uusapan natin ay anticoagulant of choice for platelet retention test, heparin would be the best choice. Okay? But for routine platelet testing, we usually do not use heparin. Okay? Next, CTAD. CTAD stands for citrate theophylline adenosine dipyridamole. It suppresses in vitro platelet or coagulation activation, especially for specialty assay such as platelet factor 4 or your TAT complex marker. So again, hindi rin natin to ginagamit for platelet function test as well as for the laboratory evaluation of secondary hemostasis. Okay? Ito po yung iba't ibang error, no, and their effect. So iwanan ko na to sa inyo. Okay? So nabanggit ko na kanina yung short draw. Kapag ka short draw, it could lead to prolonged. Okay? It could lead to prolonged coagulation testing. Okay? So specimen clot. So kailangan i-inspect nyo yung specimen na dumadating sa laboratory bago nyo i-analyze. Kasi the clot can interfere with your hemostasis test result. Hemolysis, we've already mentioned that earlier, nasa-shorten niya yung coagulation time. Lipemia or icterus can affect if yung test na ginagamit natin, ang principal ay mga optical instruments or optical methods katulad ng spectrophotometry. So, na kaka-affect siya sa transmission ng light, sa absorbance ng light. So, kapag may lipemia or icterus yung specimen, kailangan mong gumamit ng ibang method for platelet function. Okay? Hindi dapat mga optical methods. So, syempre, dapat tama rin yung collection, okay, tourniquet application, no? Specimen storage because temperature, as we've mentioned earlier, can affect the clotting process as well. Naintindihan? Okay, next. So, ito naman yung needle na dapat natin gamitin for collection. So, for adult, 20 to 21. Tapos, for children or yung mga adults na may mga, what do you call this? Yung fragile, no? Na vein, yung madaling mag-collapse, mas manipis or mas maliit dapat yung bore, 23. And then, if you're going to transfer blood, no, from syringe into a tube, gagamit tayo ng 19 gauge. 19 yung gauge na safety transfer unit. Nakita na ba kayo nun? Hindi po yung mismong needle na ginamit mo for collection. Di ba usually, ang ginagawa natin, halimbawa syringe yung ginamit mo, yung mismong needle na rin yung tinutusok natin doon sa tube. Right? Dapat, papalitan mo yung needle na yon kung halimbawa 20, 21, or 23 yung ginamit mo na needle dun sa syringe, papalitan mo yon ng 19 para i-transfer yung blood slowly into your tube. Bakit kailangan slowly? At bakit mas kailangan mas malaki yung bore? Kasi in the process of that, maaari pong ma-activate yung ating clotting process. So, kailangan ay mas malaking gauge pag nagta-transfer tayo ng blood. Okay? Next. So, there are changes in the sample after collection. So, number one, posible po na ma-activate, katulad ng sabi ko kanina, anong effect? Pagka premature na na-activate yung clotting process, na-shorten yung normal period, no, or normal value natin. Again, I repeat, no, time po yung minimeasure natin. Okay, time. So, pagka maagang na-activate yung clotting process natin, na-shorten yung clotting time. Pag nasira naman yung mga ibang factors, katulad ng factor 5, factor 8, anong mangyayari? Mapoprolong naman yung ating clotting time. Okay, ano may mga factors na pwedeng maka-apekto sa sample natin after collection? pH. So this is caused by the loss of carbon dioxide from the sample that increases your pH. Kaya naglalagay po tayo ng mga buffer sa anticoagulant. Pag nangyari kasi na nag-increase yung pH natin, napoprolong yung clotting time. So ang solution natin dyan, okay, other than the addition of buffer, kailangan yung tube hindi i-open at room temperature for up to 6 hours. Understood? Because the CO2 can increase pagka nagkaroon ng contact yung blood natin, no, with the air, mawawala yung CO2. Okay? And pag nangyari yun, mag-i-increase yung pH. Kaya kailangan yung mga tube na na-collect natin for laboratory evaluation of hemostasis, hindi natin i-open. Clear? For up to 6 hours at room temperature. So again, temperature, na-discuss ko na to sa inyo kanina, ang room temperature, ma-deteriorate niya ang factor 5, factor 8, mapoprolong ang clotting time. Yung cold temperature naman, ma-activate si factor 7-11, masashorten yung clotting time. Okay? So, ganun pa rin ang solution natin for temperature, hindi i-open yung tube at room temperature for up to 6 hours. Centrifugation, on the other hand, we use, by the way, plasma yung ginagamit natin, for testing, for secondary hemostasis. Okay? So, we are using either PPP or PRP. So, yung PPP is platelet-poor plasma. Ito yung nire-require natin for coagulation test. Ang centrifugation niyan is 1,500 to 2,000 times 10. Times, no? Gravitational force for 10 minutes. So, para matanggal natin or makuha natin yung platelet-poor plasma, we use plastic, hindi glass, okay? Wala rin naman na tayong glass na small pipettes, no? But then, you have to remember, ang glass kasi can activate the process. So, kailangan plastic or siliconized pipette yung gagamitin natin. Tapos, i-store natin yung plasma sa plastic or siliconized tube. So, kailangan magawa natin yung test as soon as possible. Understood? Pero, halimbawa, hindi agad siya mapaprocess. Anong gagawin? Pwede natin siyang i-store at 4 degrees Celsius pero hindi dapat tatagal for more than 2 hours. Understood? Ano ba yung count ng platelet? 10,000 per 10,000 cells per UL. Yung platelet natin sa platelet poor plasma, I repeat, 10,000 cells per UL. Yung platelet count na makikita natin sa platelet poor plasma. Understood? Okay, next. Ito yung sinasabi ko kaninang another na type ng plasma, the PRP, platelet-rich plasma. Ito naman yung nare-require natin sa platelet aggregometry test. So I repeat itong platelet poor plasma, ito yung ginagamit natin para sa laboratory evaluation ng secondary hemostasis. Ang platelet-rich plasma, on the other hand, ito yung ginagamit po natin. This is a test that is used for primary hemostasis. Malinaw po ba? So, magkaiba sa platelet function, ang ginagamit, platelet rich. Sa coagulation, sa secondary, platelet poor. So, ito naman po yung required na centrifugation process natin. And then, frozen samples like the ones that are stored at -20. Ang fibrinogen, stable pa yan after 4 hours after towing. And can survive pag nire-freeze natin at saka nire-thaw. Pero ang von Willebrand factor, hindi natin pwedeng i-freeze at ito more than once. Clear? Kasi magiging unstable na. Pero ang fibrinogen, pwedeng paulit-ulit natin yung i-freeze. Tapos kung hindi pa, kung halimbawa gagamitin pa kinabukasan, i-freeze mo ulit, tapos ito. Okay? Pero ang von Willebrand factor, hindi pwedeng i-frozen. Okay? So, anyway, ito yung mga examples ng test na i-discuss natin in the coming discussions. So, these are the storage temperatures and times and yung specimen stabilities nila. So, self-explanatory naman na yan, nakatabulate na siya. So, I will leave that to you. And then, etong platelet function test, ito yung i-discuss naman sa inyo sa on-site. So, ito yung mga tinatawag nating laboratory evaluation for platelet function, okay, or yung primary hemostasis. Understood? So, this will end our discussion for today. Do you have any question, clarification?